Hi everyone, welcome back to my next video. Today I'm looking at the Contemptor Dreadnought and the Venerable Contemptor Dreadnought. This isn't the Forge World relic set, it's the plastic model that you can buy from Games Workshop for £35. I'll go over the lore, the weapon options and some tactics you could use to play this in-game. I'll be honest, I don't know anything about the game, the Horus Heresy. I presume it's fairly similar to Warhammer 40,000, but if I do make any mistakes when talking about it, don't hesitate to put it down in the comments. I'd appreciate your input. And also remember that when I get 50 subscribers, I'll be showing off my Space Marine army, and I might go through how I paint them if you want to as well. And if you do enjoy this video, then please like it if you want, and subscribing will always help. Now I'll get into the video. So the lore for this unit is that it's the first type of dreadnought that's used by the Imperium. It's made in the Horus Heresy, so some of these are over 10,000 years old, but because their secrets of construction have been lost, they're very rare and they're only used occasionally because they can't be replaced. It is a powerful dreadnought though, and there are a few characters in the lore, such as Rylanor the Unyielding, who are Contemptor Dreadnoughts. Now I'll look at the datasheets of the two models. I'll start with the Space Marine one. This is 150 points with a movement of 8, free up weapon skill and ballistic skill, strength and toughness of 7, 9 wounds, 4 attacks, leadership of 8 and a free up save. That's pretty standard for a regular Space Marine dreadnought, not something like the Redemptor. I know the regular dreadnought and the venerable dreadnoughts all have fairly similar stat lines, with just a couple of differences. The Custodes Dreadnought has 10 wounds, which means it has a degrading profile. It's also 5 points extra at 155. So it has a movement of 9, which goes down to 6 inches, then 4 inches. Weapon skill and ballistic skill starts off at 2+, like all Custodes units, but drops to 3 and then 4+. 4 up is still quite good, and the shooting is not the main part of this unit. All of the other stats are pretty much the same, except it has a 2-up save, obviously 10 wounds, and still 4 attacks, strength and toughness 7. It starts degrading when it gets to 5 wounds and then 2 wounds on the lowest line of its profile. So both of these models have 2 of the abilities as the same, as Atomantic Shielding, giving it a 5+ invulnerable save, and Explode, meaning that when it's destroyed, on the dice roll of a 6, I believe it's everything within 6 inches will suffer D3 mortal wounds. It's not the biggest explosion, but seeing as this will like to be fighting up in the front, it might hurt the enemy a bit. The Astartes Dreadnought has the Duty Eternal ability, which is quite good, meaning that you subtract 1 from the damage characteristic of weapons that target it, down to a minimum of 1. This means that weapons like heavy bolters will only be doing 1 damage against it instead of 2, and it'll mean that grav cannons and other weapons that are flat 2 damage won't be as effective against it. The Custodes Dreadnought has a similar ability called Unyielding Ancient, but this is nowhere near as good, as it means that on a 6, every time it suffers a wound, that wound is ignored. You could call this a 6-up feel no pain. Now I'll look at the weapons that these models have, and both have the exact same weapons. The only difference is the Custodes one will be firing at 2-up ballistic skill at first, and the Space Marine will be staying at 3-up ballistic skill. So their first weapon is a Dreadnought combat weapon. This is the big fist in their left hand, and it is strength ×2, making it strength 14, -3 AP, and the damage is flat 3. This will punch through most heavily armoured vehicles, such as tanks, and you don't have a -1 to the hit roll. This makes it really good for destroying most things, However, the only problem is that the Dreadnought only has 4 attacks, making it less effective against hordes. Then it also has a Combi Bolter, exact same as a Storm Bolter, 24-inch range, rapid fire 2, strength 4, 0 AP and 1 damage. In the tactical doctrine, the Space Marine Dreadnought will get -1 AP on this, making it good for finishing off a couple of lighter infantry units, but I wouldn't fire this at anything that you're not going to get much worth out of. The only customisable weapons choice on this is on the right arm, the gun arm. You can take a Kears pattern assault cannon. I don't know exactly how to pronounce that word. If I did get it wrong, then you can say in the comments. And that's a bit of an improvement over the regular assault cannon. It's a 24-inch ranged, heavy 6, strength 7, -1 AP and 1 damage. Or you can take a multi-melter, a 24-inch ranged, heavy 2, strength 8, -4 AP and D6 damage weapon. You can also have it doing D6 plus 2 damage when you're shooting at a target within 12 inches, as that's the melter gun special rule. Of these, I think they're both very good options. They both lend themselves quite well to shooting at heavy units. The multi-melter definitely a bit more, although the assault cannon will give it a bit of anti-horde capability. The problem with the assault cannon though is that the high strength might fool you into thinking that you can target large vehicles with it. I wouldn't do this. I'd shoot at heavier infantry. Things like Space Marines will die pretty easily to something like this, especially if the Astartes Dreadnought has -2 AP in the Devastator Doctrine. Overall though, I think they're both pretty good weapons, but most of the time I'd have to choose the multi-melter. You can see from the weapon choices that it's a fairly close to medium ranged unit. You'll want to be getting up there and shooting at the enemy whilst also definitely getting into combat a couple of times, so you can use that big combat weapon. So my final score for this is a 7 out of 10 for both units. I've chosen this because it's fairly durable, being toughness 7 with a 5+ invulnerable save, and it provides pretty good close range firepower. Using the multi-melter especially can help it support a unit of troops. For example, if you take some Vanguard veterans or something like that, maybe assault intercessors, some infantry units that can take chainswords or lightning claws or other units that are good for taking out infantry. You can send this up with them. It can tank quite a bit of the firepower and also deal with any vehicles which regular Marines won't be able to. I mentioned it's powerful against vehicles with the multi-melter. That's my favourite weapon for this. I think the assault cannon is good and it can still be used, but personally I prefer the multi-melter. But thank you all of you for watching these videos. I hope you've enjoyed it, and please subscribe if you did. And I'll see you next time.